Lemmy's at it again with a new green supplement. Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. In today's video, we're going to be reviewing another product by Lemme known as Lemme Greens. They say that their green supplement is better tasting, reduces bloating, helps with gut health, and supports healthy hair, skin, and nails. But is this true? That's what we're going to talk about in today's video. If you're interested in learning a lot more about Lemme and other products, I have reviewed many in the past, so feel free to check those out after this video. But first, hi, my name is Katey. I'm a registered dietitian and certified personal trainer. My goal with this channel is to help you learn more about nutrition, fitness, and wellness so that you can be your best, whatever that looks like. I also love to do product reviews, so if you have any products or topics you want me to cover, just let me know in the comments below. Alright, so let's get started. What is Lemme Greens? Lemme Greens is a new supplement made by Kourtney Kardashian's company called Lemme. In a nutshell, it's basically a greens powder but in gummy form. And that's really the only unique difference between this product and any other greens supplement out there. Like I mentioned, Lemme makes a lot of different claims when it comes to their Lemme Greens, including reducing bloating, supporting healthy hair, skin, and nails, and improving overall gut health. They even go as far as to say that taking their green supplement is going to help you smell better. Within the supplement, they say that it has over 20 different fruits and vegetables, and it contains a clinically studied probiotic. So we're going to dive into all of those in this video. On their website, they also do a lot of comparisons for this green supplement and comparing it to how much nutrition you would get from different food items. So for example, they say that their supplement has the vitamin D content of 8 glasses of milk, the B12 content of 2 ounces of salmon, and the equivalent of 60 cups worth of baby spinach for biotin or B7. So as you can see, they make a lot of different claims when it comes to this green supplement, so we're going to dive into that in more detail now. So let's take a look at Lemme Greens ingredients. If we take a look at the supplement facts table, we see that a serving is 2 gummies, and per 2 gummies it has 20 calories, most of which is coming from carbohydrates in the form of added sugar. We have to keep in mind that because it's a gummy supplement, they're trying to make it taste good, and so as a result they're going to add a little bit of sugar in order to do this. At the end of the day, this isn't a high amount anyway, so I wouldn't be overly concerned, but I don't think necessarily all of us need to be having our supplements in gummy form because it can add up. On the supplement facts table, we see a few star ingredients. We see vitamin D, vitamin B12, as well as biotin. We also see an organic green superfood complex, a superfruit antioxidant support complex, and a probiotic. So let's start off with the vitamin D. If we look at the supplement facts table, we see that it has 20 micrograms, or the equivalent of 800 international units of vitamin D, and this represents 100% of the daily value. Generally speaking, when a company is going to add vitamin D to their product, this is a pretty standard dose. And I like the fact that they don't go overboard with it. Low levels of vitamin D is pretty common, and that's why it's generally advised that people take a vitamin D supplement, especially during the dark winter months, but for some people year round. As I mentioned, the dose is pretty reasonable here, so I don't have any concerns. As for comparing the vitamin D content in this supplement to 8 glasses of milk, it is an accurate statement. Keep in mind though, the reason why vitamin D supplements are often recommended is because it's very challenging to get enough vitamin D through our diet. So Lemme isn't incorrect in saying this statement, but I wouldn't say that it's a good comparison when we're talking about vitamin D content in foods. Next, we have vitamin B12 in a dose of 2.4 micrograms, or 100% your daily needs. And for once in a lifetime, Lemme is not adding too much vitamin B12. If you've watched any of my other videos before, you'll notice I say that they add a lot of B12. For once, they actually just stick with the percent daily value of 100%, which is still, you know, it meets your needs, but it's not going overboard like most of their products. For B12 deficiency, this is also relatively common, especially in people that don't consume a lot of animal products, since B12 is mostly found in animal foods. And getting enough B12 is important for a lot of different things. It supports brain and nerve function, blood cell formation, DNA synthesis, energy production, just to name a few. So in terms of the dosing in this supplement, you may potentially benefit if you're not getting enough B12 through your diet alone. With that being said, I would not be taking the supplement for B12. I would take an individual B12 supplement instead, especially if it's been recommended by your healthcare provider. When we're comparing the dose to salmon, yes, again, they are accurate in saying that the amount of B12 in their supplement is equivalent to about 2 ounces of salmon. But the thing is, there are tons of different food sources of B12, which I've included on the screen here. So sure, you can get B12 from this supplement, but you could also get it through your diet, or if you need to, through an individual supplement that's cheaper than this. Then we have biotin, or vitamin B7, and I find Lemme adds this to the majority of their products, especially when we're connecting it to the claim that it's going to help support hair, skin, and nails. I've talked about biotin a ton on this channel, and honestly, it's something that a lot of companies still add, despite the fact that there's very little research to support taking a biotin supplement to support your hair, skin, and nails. The reason is because 99% of the population gets enough biotin through their diet, and biotin deficiency is virtually non-existent. In fact, if you want to support your hair, skin, and nails, there are other nutrients that I would focus on besides biotin. So this would include things like getting enough protein, total calories, vitamin D, healthy fats, zinc, as well as vitamin C. As for comparing the biotin content in this supplements to 60 cups of baby spinach, this is such an unreasonable comparison. The reason why is because baby spinach isn't really that high in biotin to begin with, so you're picking something that has a low biotin content and saying that it's comparable to 60 cups when you take it from the supplement. In reality, biotin is commonly found in a lot of animal products and some plant-based products, which I've provided on the screen as well. But if you want a higher amount of biotin through your diet, consume things like beef, eggs, salmon, pork, and so on. So they basically just picked something low in biotin and said that their supplement's going to have a lot more. No kidding. Okay, so now let's move on to their Greens Superfood Complex. This is a blend of different greens derived from a variety of vegetables. It's in a dose of 300 milligrams, which is honestly really, really low for a greens powder. One major issue right away is that they use a proprietary blend, meaning that we don't know the exact dose of every single ingredient in the product. Instead, we only know the total dose representing all of the ingredients in that complex. With that being said, we can do a little bit of math and make an educated guess on how much of each ingredient is in the product. So we know that the total dose is 300 milligrams, and there are 12 ingredients in this complex. So if we take 300 milligrams and divide it by 12, that gives us 25 milligrams. So if we assume that all of the ingredients are the same dose, and they're likely not, but let's just for easy math say that they are, each ingredient is going to be about 25 milligrams, give or take. For nutrition labels, they have to put the heaviest item first, and then they do it in descending order. So the first ingredient is going to be the highest weight, and then the last one's going to be the lowest weight. But we'll use 25 milligrams because that's all we can work with. Now, I do want to point out that all of the ingredients in this complex are beneficial for your health. So getting a variety of different vegetables is a good idea. They're full of nutrients, they're full of phytochemicals and antioxidants that do support our health. The issue is that the dose makes the difference. So let's talk about a few examples. Spirulina is a very, very popular supplement and ingredient in a ton of greens powders. And it is a strong antioxidant, and it does have strong anti-inflammatory properties. The issue is that when we look at different research studies in terms of using spirulina to support health, the dose they use is significantly higher, and it ranges between about 1 to 7 grams. So to put this into perspective, let's say that the amount of spirulina in Lemme Greens is 25 milligrams, which we did the math on. And honestly, it may have a little bit less than this because it's lower in the list. But let's just say it has 25 milligrams in this product. If we use the lowest dose used in most research studies of 1 gram, 25 milligrams is 2.5%. So Lemme has about 2.5% the amount of spirulina in this product compared to what's used in research studies. And even in the research studies at those higher doses, it's not always found to be effective. So if they're only finding minor effects even at really, really high doses above 1 gram, and Lemme has 25 milligrams or less, you can safely assume that it's probably not going to do much for you. Then if we consider the entire dose of this complex being 300 milligrams, and there are 12 different ingredients, you can start to piece together that if you look at each individual ingredient and its own dose, it's very, very low. And even at 300 milligrams, that's not even comparable to the amount of just spirulina in research studies. And this is supposed to represent 12 different greens. So honestly, the dose is very, very low. As for the smelling claim that they have on their Instagram, this is very questionable. They say that taking this green supplement is going to help with odor because it supports your gut microbiome. And they say that when your gut microbiome is out of balance, this prevents your body from expelling toxins properly and they can build up. First of all, if you suspect that your gut microbiome is out of balance, you shouldn't be running to take a green supplement to fix the issue because it's not going to. And if you really suspect something problematic is going on, you need to work with a healthcare provider because they can run the proper tests to actually analyze your gut microbiome. And even if you wanted to support your gut microbiome at home, you don't need to run and take a greens powder. I would honestly recommend making sure you're eating enough fiber-rich foods first. This is such an underrated effective way to support our gut health, yet it's the number one thing that's going to support gut health for most people. The other thing you can do is try to make sure that you're eating a variety of different plants, so different vegetables, fruits, grains, nuts, and so on, because they're going to support microbial diversity and they're going to provide a variety of different microbes to your gut and help feed them. Also making sure that you're exercising regularly and you're managing your stress, which really can affect your gut microbiome. These things are going to support your gut way more than taking a greens gummy supplement will. So for them to say that taking this green supplement is going to help your body detox better, it's just not an accurate statement. And honestly, I would love for them to be specific with their claims. They say that these toxins start to come out through their breath and their sweat, so that causes different types of odor, but what toxins are we talking about? Be specific. Being this vague and trying to make somebody feel insecure about now body odor because their body's not detoxing properly, it's just irresponsible, and it's something I find very, very frustrating. And rest assured, for the average healthy person, your organs are detoxing your body just fine. Honestly, it's just a really frustrating claim. It lacks scientific backing, and it's honestly one I wish they would take back. All right, next let's talk about their Superfruit Antioxidant Support Complex. To be honest, with this complex, it's basically the same thing I just talked about with their greens complex. This blend has a total dose of 200 milligrams, and there are 10 ingredients within it, so each ingredient has an average of about 20 milligrams. So again, the dose is just so small for these ingredients to really have any effect on your health. So let's use goji fruit powder as an example. Let's say that you want to try that to support your overall health. Well, if you were to buy goji fruit powder on its own, most companies use doses of about 5 grams or higher. And that's not even saying this goji fruit powder is going to do much for you, because we just don't have a ton of research on it either. But the dose is 5 grams versus the 20 milligrams that are found in Lemme Greens. So again, this blend just has a very, very low dose of every ingredient, and the total dose is not impressive at all. With that being said, these fruits are extremely nutritious, and getting them in their whole form is going to be the best for you. Keep in mind, when you're eating whole vegetables and fruit, you're getting the fiber, you're getting the different plant compounds, so different phytochemicals. You're also getting the various nutrients that are in it, so different vitamins and minerals. And so getting them in their whole form is going to be way, way, way better for you than getting it through a supplement, especially Lemme Greens. Next, we have their probiotic strain. This product has 20 milligrams of Bacillus coagulans, and this is a very well-studied probiotic strain. And it is well established for supporting gut health when taken as part of a probiotic. Here's the problem. We actually don't know how potent this strain is in this product because they use 20 milligrams and don't provide the CFU count, which is known as colony forming units. And most probiotic supplements will provide a CFU count. This just helps the consumer understand how large of an amount of probiotics are in the product and how potent they are. So 20 milligrams of Bacillus coagulans could potentially be a good dose, but it's not very clear. The other thing is that if you're going to take a probiotic supplement, you're better off taking it from a reputable brand that uses multiple strains and provides a high dose of probiotics with a CFU count. Also, making sure that you're getting it from a reliable company that's third-party tested is another good idea. The reason I like third-party testing is because it helps with transparency, and it helps to make sure that what they say in the label is actually what's in the product. In terms of different probiotic supplements, there are so many different ones out there, and it kind of depends on your situation. And remember, you don't have to take a probiotic, but if you want some examples of ones that I think are decent, this is not sponsored at all, just some ones that I'm familiar with. That would include things like Align, BioK, Ritual, as well as Seed. There are also tons of other brands out there, so feel free to investigate and do your own research on them. In terms of taking the probiotic from Lemme Greens, I don't find it very impressive, and I'm not convinced it's going to do that much for you, especially because this is a greens product, not a probiotic. All right, so let's talk about the cost. For the cost, a monthly supply is $30 US. So it's pretty comparable to a lot of greens powders. Honestly, it's a little bit cheaper than some of the popular ones out there, but for what you're getting from this product, I don't think it's worth your money. Okay, so let's answer a common question. Do you need a greens powder? I've done quite a few reviews on different greens powders here on my YouTube channel. And like I say in all of my videos, most people do not need a greens powder, and I don't want you to feel pressured into buying a greens powder or a greens gummy supplement or anything greens related. You don't need to do that. There are situations where someone may benefit from a greens powder, but it's very far and few between, and the average person doesn't need one. If you're an extremely picky eater and you have a very hard time getting any vegetables and fruit in your diet, it could potentially help a little bit with providing some vitamins and minerals, as well as potentially some phytochemicals. I also find that some people like to take a greens powder because it motivates them to start their wellness journey. And if that's the case, and if taking a greens powder is going to get you excited about pursuing other healthy habits, then maybe it could be beneficial for you. The other thing is that if you take a true greens powder, so you have to mix it with water, you are getting a little bit of extra hydration that way. But again, you absolutely do not need to take a greens powder. And one of the downsides downsides is that we just don't have enough quality research on it. So we don't even know if taking greens powders, let alone a greens gummy supplement, is actually going to affect your health. We just need way more research on it. Plus, consuming whole vegetables and fruit is going to give you fiber, which none of these greens powders have enough of. If you're determined to take a green supplement, I have done reviews on a couple different ones that would be better than this. I'm not advertising them. This video is not sponsored. So this would include Athletic Greens or AG1 as well as IM8. The issue is they're exceptionally expensive and they're really not accessible to the average person. There are pros and cons to those as well, so feel free to check out those videos after this one to see if they're right for you. But again, I do want to emphasize, you don't have to buy any of them. I would focus on eating a whole nutritious diet, not buying processed greens powders or gummy supplements. All right, so to finish off, do I recommend Lemme Greens? As you can probably tell, I'm not a fan of Lemme Greens. There's honestly nothing special about this product at all, and I'm not impressed. And honestly, if you're gonna get a greens product, there are other companies that offer way more in their product for a comparable price, and they're going to probably be a little bit more beneficial than this gummy supplement. I find the ingredients basic and nothing revolutionary. In fact, the only thing I'd say are fine is the vitamin doses, so vitamin D and vitamin B12. But the doses for the vegetables and fruit complexes are so low that I highly doubt they're going to do much for you. So honestly, no, I don't recommend the supplement at all. And with that, I hope you found this video helpful. Let me know in the comments below if you have any other products or topics you want me to cover. And if you did find this video helpful, I would love it if you would like and subscribe to my channel because your support helps me reach more people like you. And I'll see you in the next video.